Okay. So morning we have seen implementation projects. So implementation projects, they are the end-to-end implementation projects. So nowadays they are very minimum. So I mean you won't be finding the fresh implementation uh, in any company. That will be an enhancement or a migration or an upgrade. So these kind of projects are more nowadays. But by chance, if you get an implementation, please do remember these steps and you have to follow these steps. ASAP methodology is the standard methodology which is used in implementation projects. There are other methodologies. If required, we will talk about them. Okay. There is something called RDS, Rapid Deployment Solution. That is the advanced methodology which is in use in current projects. We'll talk about that as well. So maybe at the end, once we complete all these topics, you remind me, then uh, we can talk about RDS methodology also. But wherever you go, these steps are same. More or less, we'll have same steps and activities, but the phases would be different. That you have to remember. Then we have something called Activate methodology, which is meant for S4 HANA projects now. So you know that S4 HANA is a recent um, ERP application by SAP, which is very similar to ECC, but in terms of build and construction, I mean design, there is a lot of variance. Okay, but functionality wise, it is same. User interface is same. Okay, yeah. So the next kind of projects you mostly handle is development or enhancement projects. So development or enhancement projects are nothing but, so once you implement SAP for a client, you're not going to, leave it as it is. You keep doing betterments. You continuously improve the business process, continuous improvements. Okay. So you keep adding functionalities to the existing business, advanced functionalities. So what I'm saying here is once you implement a project, that is not the end. You have to have a development team who will be working on the continuous developments of that application. That is where most of us are involved in organizations. Okay. So I have, throughout my career, I have involved in one or two implementations, fresh implementations. Most of my projects are development or enhancement projects. Okay. So in most of the times, these are L3 support projects. You will come to know what is L3 later. Okay. But L3 means level 3 support. But think that you are into a development and enhancement project. So here, when you are into a development or enhancement project, let's say I'll take an example. So everybody knows pricing. Okay. This pricing is very complex and there won't be any end for pricing enhancements in an organization. So though it is so complex and it provides a lot of flexibility to price your products in organization, you may still require developments in terms of repricing or in terms of simplifying your pricing structure, in terms of adding new requirements to pricing criteria, in terms of writing formulas for your pricing calculation or discounts calculation or tax calculation. It is so complex that, I mean, you will you can do a lot of, you know continuous improvements in pricing, functional area. So let's think that you take an example where you are into a project where you are doing pricing enhancements. In this, let's say you want to create new requirement routines for each of your pricing conditions, calculations. So there are few important fields in pricing procedure, as I said. Okay, so those important things are like your requirement, alternative calculation type, alternative condition based value, yeah, and your subtotals. So if you are asked to enhance enhance functionality in any of these areas for number of condition types, then you have to handle it as a development, pricing enhancement or pricing development. So when you get into these kind of projects, first what you do, the steps what you do here will be similar to your implementation project, but you follow a cycle called SDLC, software development life cycle. Most of the times we use waterfall technique or agile. There are several other techniques, but you don't have to worry about that. No one will ask you what technique you are using. Okay, just remember what is SDLC. So if you're a Java or .NET or some other C++ developer, then you might have to know about this SDLC lifecycle. But since these developments are part of ABAP development, I'm just walking through the steps of SDLC lifecycle, software development lifecycle. Okay. So if you undertake any development, even minor development or major development, these steps are more or less involved. You will be following these steps in your development phase. When you start development, within the time frame, let's say you are into your pricing development and you got 4 months time for that development. Within this 4 months period, you will be involved in all these phases, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, so let's say pricing enhancement. You wanted to introduce prices based on country code. Okay, pricing condition will be same, but it has to pick different prices or pricing criteria based on your country code. Okay, it is a global rollout. Think that it is a global enhancement. It should be applicable for all the countries in your organization. In that case, what you do, you connect with business and read the requirements, take requirements, note them properly. You have to continuously discuss about the requirements based on each country. Okay, if you take India, what would be the requirement? If you take US, what will be the requirement for US? Like this, you gather all requirements, you note all requirements, and prepare a requirement document, business requirement document for that. So most of the times business will give you business requirement document, or they may conduct a session or walkthrough sessions. We call them as requirement walkthroughs. Requirement walkthroughs. So with these discussions, you understand what the client or what the business is exactly expecting. You note them clearly, what is business expecting, because you are the one who has to develop this function. You are the one who has to bridge or handle this enhancement. ABAPer, the development guy, cannot understand business language. You should be a bridge between business and ABAP. So if you understand the requirement properly, then ABAPer can code it properly. You have to give inputs to ABAPer so that he can develop programs or enhancements which can fit for business requirement. That is what your requirement gathering. So requirement gathering, you start requirement gathering. Then after gathering requirement, you scope and analysis. You scope them, whether it is under scope or not. Scoping means, let's say there are 50 requirements for these enhancements. Maybe it will be difficult for you to develop all these requirements in one go. Then you take out the less priority requirements and put them in next phase, next release. Next release means second release. So instead of delivering all these 50 requirements in one go, you are going to separate these into two phases, two releases. First release, 30 requirements. Second release, next 20 requirements. So this means you are descoping the remaining 20 requirements from first phase or first release. Okay, these remaining 20 requirements will be handled in next release, maybe starting after 4 months, because this first release takes 4 months, right? After this release, immediately you start the next release. So generally your organizations will have 3 months releases. That means every 3 months you plan for a release. Okay. So I'll tell you what is those releases later. Now we are in scoping and analysis. Then once you do scoping and descoping of requirements, then you do analysis based on your expertise, how best you can match, whether it can be fit into standard SAP or we need to go for development. Yes, definitely you might need ABAP here for coding purpose. So that is what analysis means. So analysis means you analyze the requirement, whether it can be mapped into standard SAP or you need a code change for that. If there is a code change, if there is requirement for code change, then again you have to call for user exits. User exits, then functional specifications, technical specifications, ABAP coding, then go live. Okay. So again, so in the morning, we told about something called gap, correct? So here also gaps will come. Not only in implementation projects, in development and enhancement projects also you get gaps. Everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of project it is. There is a functionality which cannot be mapped in SAP, then that is a gap. So these gaps should be filled by developments. Okay. So that is your scoping and analysis. Then design. Once you analyze properly, then you design the development, how you are going to map the gap. So once you design, then based on the design, you construct it. Construction means building. Configuration, if it is a customizable change, it means customization. Configuration change, you can do construction. Through your settings in IMG screens. And if it is an enhancement, you should definitely go for ABAP coding. Then ABAP coding will also be done at this stage, construction stage. Okay. Once you do construction and you do unit testing in development system. So as a functional consultant, you should do unit testing in development system. It is a confirmation for yourself, saying that my development is working properly. Once you do unit testing, then move changes, you find that it is working fine, because you are the one who gathered requirement and you should be knowing how to configure it or develop it. Once the development or configuration is completed, you give a rough testing in the development box itself. Once you confirm that everything is fine, then move it to quality box for further testing by testing teams. In this testing, you will be doing several testing, starting from test testing, integration testing, system integration testing, regression testing, performance testing, negative testing. There are many tests. Finally, UAT, user acceptance test. So what is UAT here? So in simple terms, UAT is who gave you requirement? Business. That means users. So users will also test this development once you complete it. Then they confirm saying that whether it is working as per their expectations or not. That is what your UAT. We'll talk about this testing projects later in detail. Let's go with the flow now. So once UAT is confirmed, that means UAT sign off. Users confirm that, okay, development is working as expected. Whatever they expected, that is available in system now. Now they finally sign off for go live. So if there is anything master data maintenance or cutover is to be planned, they'll plan for cutover, then they'll move changes to production system, which is called go live here. Okay. Then along with SDLC, I wrote this SDLC because this is also parallelly working in, will be working in development life cycles or development projects. SDLC is nothing but software testing life cycle. When you, maybe Nag would be knowing about it. Nag, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that correct? STLC, software testing life cycle. So if you can tell me the stages here, I'll write it. Requirement analysis. Scenarios. Test cases. Then test lab. I don't know whether this is correct or not. Based on my real-time experience, I'm just writing them here. Maybe one or more steps I'll be missing, or one or more will be added here. Test, okay, test plan. Test lab. Then execution. So are these the steps not in software testing lifecycle? Am I missing something here? Nag, are you there? If you are speaking, you are speaking. Okay. So it's not of much important for now. Let's go ahead. If one or two steps are missing or added extra, I'll correct them later in testing projects. Okay. I'll review that and come back to you. So I'm just talking about software test lifecycle here. Okay. Then, so coming to releases. Releases in development. Why I need to plan for releases? Why I have to have releases in software development? Let's say 2021 has already begun, and you're a project manager, and so it is not that all the requirements. Let's say you have a bunch of requirements from all the modules to be developed in 2021. So let's say SDMM, FI, okay, quality management, inventory management, all modules got their own enhancements or developments for this 2021 year. Will it be possible to deliver all these requirements in one go? Let's say as a project manager or delivery head, are you going to ask for all the developments in one go? No, you don't. When business submits their requirements or plan for maybe that is called TRQ, technology request or something, that means changes for existing process, you scope them. Business heads, process owners will decide the priority of this change. So what I'm saying here is your SD process owner or from sales and distribution area, there are plans for changing existing business. That means enhancements. Similarly, you will have change requests for inventory management, FI, CO, quality management, production planning, production management. Okay, plant maintenance. So all these modules are also giving you the requirements for changing the business process. Now, let's say altogether you got some 50 enhancements from all the modules. Is it possible to deliver all these enhancements in one go? No, it is not possible at all. So your business heads, process owners will estimate how much time it is going to take for this development, how much effort we are going to utilize, what is the dollar benefit we are going to get out of this enhancement. So that they don't go for automation or enhancement simply, whatever a user does. No. They do also scope. If there is a great benefit, when you do this enhancement, if there is a great benefit, then only they'll prioritize it. Okay, it should be a genuine change request. So business will identify what are the critical changes needed for FY21, fiscal year 21. So all the critical enhancements will be grouped in release 1. Let's say I said 4 releases in a year, 1 release for 3 months. Okay, release once in 3 months. So let's say Jan to March end, 1 release. So think that first release is completed now with critical requirements, priority 1 requirements. Then let's say all priority requirements, there are among 50 requirements, you have 15 priority 1 requirements, all are delivered in first phase, that is first release 1 in FY1. The next priority, so think that there are 10 requirements for the second release from April to June. So they prioritize all these 10 requirements for the second release of 3 months duration. Then again, the next priority for third release phase, or the third release in the fiscal year, they prioritize remaining requirements. Fourth release, whatever pending will be handled, and if there are any new requirements, simple and medium changes can also be handled or delivered in fourth release. So it is not that you are going to release, you are going to develop everything in one go. No, that is why they should go by phased manner depending on the priority. Critical enhancements will be considered first. Okay, so this is why you plan for releases. So you start developing it. It is not that whenever you want you can move changes to production. No, you have to move changes to production once in 3 months. Your basis team will plan for that. Basis team will plan for these releases. So they'll announce your release date, next release date. You have to plan your developments. You have to build them, you have to test them, you have to complete them within stipulated time. Then you have to give this change request to TRs, transport request to basis with test evidences. It is not that release date has come and you are going to hand over incomplete developments. No. If a development is in incomplete status, then you cannot move it to production. You have to complete it first, then test it. You need to attach test evidence documents as well. Okay, so that is what your release management. Okay, then so this is about development and enhancement projects. So next project type is rollouts. Rollouts is a simple term, simple project. yes, rollouts are also important projects. What is a rollout? Let's say you have implemented SAP for India. You have a global company. Think that XYZ & Co is a global company, multinational organization, which exists in more than 10 countries, 10 to 15 countries. So India is your main business. I mean, you do business mainly in India. So you implement SAP first in India, then Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, China, Singapore, Malaysia, okay, Australia. So all these are other countries, right? I mean, so let's think that it took 1 year to implement SAP for India, and you take the same template. Let's say you have a business structure in India, and you have all the developments, enhancements in place. They're working fine. System is so stable now. So you found that this is so useful. Then you plan for rollout in Sri Lanka also. What do you do here in Sri Lanka? You just copy paste this existing business model for Sri Lanka country code, and you carry out country specific settings. These country specific settings are mostly in the areas of taxes and outputs. So when output is nothing but your print forms, right? Order acknowledgement, delivery challan, invoice, credit notes, debit notes, written orders, written confirmations. Okay. These all are legal requirement documents. So when you do a rollout, you cannot be using same format same format of order acknowledgement which you are using. Let's say you have a format of order acknowledgement in India, that is A4. I mean portrait. Okay, portrait. I mean layout. But when you do rollout for Sri Lanka, they don't need it in portrait. They need in landscape. You know, portrait and landscape. Layouts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you see, some organizations will print invoices, horizontally. If you take your A4 sheet, the layout will be the landscape layout for some companies. So it depends country to country. So then you also have to do country specific changes like taxes. You will have separate tax rates in India, separate tax types in India, but also separate legal requirements. If you take India, so earlier it was VAT number, but now it is GST number, GSTIN, correct? So maybe Sri Lanka may have a different number, but similar functionality. So in rollout projects, what you are going to do here is you copy the business process as it is, but you take care of country specific requirements like taxes, output prints, forms, the requirements. That's it. There is nothing much. So cutovers, let's say prices, rollout projects, let's say you have 1,000 products in our business. You maintain prices in India and India sales organization, customer and material combination, IN00. Let's think that IN00 is India sales organization. You have maintained prices for all these 1,000 products, materials in combination of IN00, customers and product combination. This will not work for Sri Lanka business, right? Because sales org is different. Sri Lanka will have SL00 or other sales org number. Customers also different. And products can be same, correct? So again, you have to map prices for that, right? So these kind of activities you do in rollouts. Country specific changes in pricing area, in tax area, tax determination area, and forms, output forms. Okay, so this is about rollout projects. So any doubts in this? Gopi, Nag?
No doubts.
So we'll start with this today, and tomorrow we will talk about support projects. Okay, so support is like your, most of the times 50% of consultants will be placed in support projects when they enter into organization. Okay, so we'll be focusing more on support projects. Okay, yes. So we have 3 more minutes time. If you have any questions, you can show it.
Hi, Prasad. Yeah, so after resolving the tickets, so who will the test? Will have a separate team for that, or we will only verify that ticket?
Yeah. So it depends on the kind of project you are handling. If it is a development project, okay, you will have separate team to test. If it is a support project, you test it, then your user will confirm. Because support, you almost handle minor issues, okay, small to medium level, medium complexity changes. Okay, if you handle a change as a project, then definitely you have to have a testing team. Your testing results or your own testing confirmation will not work here. For projects, you have to have separate team. You should have separate team. For changes, small to medium range complexity changes, you develop, you test in development system, you move changes to quality system, you test in quality also. Then your testing confirmation alone is not enough for moving changes to production. User has to confirm. In support projects, user confirmation is must. Okay, in any projects, UAT is must. User acceptance test results are must. Without user acceptance,
So
you cannot move. You should not move
in
production.
so in all environments they will test, or only in the pre-production only they will test.
It's
So we
pre-production.
have 3 environments, right?
No.
Java.
Testing will be testing only in testing team will have as only for test boxes, test environment. But UAT, when you take user acceptance test, they do test in quality, and they may also test in golden clients if they have a setup of golden client. Got it?
Yeah.
So any doubts or any addition you wanted to add, because you are also into testing, right?
Yes.
So any additions, or am I missing something here?
No, actually, we have 3 environments, like you are saying dev and like we are calling it the staging environment and pre-production.
Staging